Sometimes you may need to find the top 3, 5 or 10 values and names from a dataset. While finding only the top value and name from a dataset is easy, finding the top 5 values and names is challenging. And if we assign one or multiple criteria on top of that, finding the top 5 values and names becomes very complex. Hey there Excel enthusiasts, welcome to Exceldemy, your go-to destination for mastering Excel and Excel VBA related challenges. I'm Shahriar Abrar Rafid, and in today's video I'll be showing a detailed guide on how to find top 5 values and names in Excel. So let's roll up our sleeves and get started. For this tutorial, I'll be using Microsoft Excel 365. Let's get introduced to our dataset now. Column B represents random names of 10 students and column C shows the CGPA of each student of a term final in their university. I'll use this dataset to complete today's task. Duplicates or ties are often present while finding the top 5 values and names. In this section, I'll present 6 distinct methods to find the top 5 values and names with duplicates in Excel. If you notice the dataset, Sam and Mike both have similar CGPA, 3.94. I want to find out the top 5 names including those 2 names who got similar CGPAs as well with Excel functions. I've already created an output table and inserted the positions from 1 to 5. In this section, I'll use the large and rows functions to find the top 5 values and combine the index, match, large and COUNTIF functions to find the top 5 names. Go to cell G5 and insert the formula equal to. Here I'll use the large function. Press Tab to insert the highlighted function. As the array argument, select cells in the C5 to C14 range. Press F4 on the keyboard to lock the cell reference. This converts it into absolute cell reference, comma. As the k argument, I'll use another function which is the rows function. As the array argument of the rows function, I'll write down G5 to G5. Here I'll log the cell reference of the first G5 and also log the column number of the second G5. Close the parenthesis. This part of the formula counts how many rows you have in the range from cell G5 to the current row. For example, if this formula is in cell G7, it will count 3 because there are 3 rows from G5 to G7. This is the main part of the formula. It finds the nth largest value in a range. In this case, it's looking for the nth largest value in the range from C5 to C14. The nth value is determined by the result of the rows function. As rows G5 to G5 is equal to 1, it will find the first largest value in the range C5 to C14. Now press enter and drag down the fill handle icon to copy the formula in the remaining cells. This will calculate the top 5 values. Now to find the top 5 names, select cell F5 and type the formula equal to index. As the array argument, select cells in the B5 to B14 range, comma, match function. As the lookup value argument, I'll write down 1, comma, opening a parenthesis, select the range C5 to C14 equal to large function. As the array argument, again, select cells in the C5 to C14 range, comma, as the k argument, select cell E5 and log the column number of this reference. Close the parenthesis, give an asterisk sign, opening parenthesis. Here I'll use the COUNTIF function. As the range argument, I'll write F4 to F4, comma, as the criteria argument, select cells in the B5 to B14 range, make it absolute reference, close the parenthesis, equal to 0, close the parenthesis, comma. Here I'll use exact match, closing the parenthesis. This function counts how many times the values in cells F4 up to the current row appear in the range B5 to B14 and checks if the count is equal to 0. This condition ensures that the value in B5 to B14 hasn't appeared in the F column above the current row. The large function finds the E5th largest value in the range C5 to C14. This is the value we want to match in the next step. This compares each value in the range C5 to C14 with the E5th largest value and creates an array of trues and falses, where true represent the cells in C5 to C14 that have the E5th largest value. The match function combines the result from the previous steps. It finds the position of the first one in the array, created by multiplying the two arrays. The 1 represents the first cell that meets both conditions. It has the E5 largest value in column C and hasn't appeared in column F above the current row. Finally, the index function uses the position found in the previous step to return the corresponding value from the range B5 to B14. This is the value in column B that corresponds to the condition specified in the formula. Now press enter and use the fill handle to get other 4 names and you are done. You have just got both names, Sam and Mike, who got similar CGPA. By using the sort and filter functions, you can find the top 5 names along with the values more easily. In cell F5, the formula is equal to sort. As the array argument, I'll use another function which is the filter function. As the array argument of the filter function, select cells in the B5 to C14 range, comma. As the include argument, select cells in the C5 to C14 greater than or equal to large function. As the array argument of the large function, select cells in the C5 to C14 again, comma. As the k argument, I'll write down 5, closing the parenthesis, comma. As the sort index, write down 2, comma. As the sort order, select the descending order, which is -1. Close the parenthesis. Press enter, and you will get the top 5 CGPAs along with the names of the students at once. You even don't have to use fill handle here to get the rest of the values, as per the formula itself is doing all the calculations for you. So what's happening here is, the filter function with the large function inside extracts all the 5 largest values from the range of cells C5 to C14. The sort function then shows all the values or CGPA in descending order, along with the names from the array B5 to C14. But this formula will work only in Excel 2021 or Excel for Microsoft 365, as the sort function isn't available in earlier versions. This method is only applicable in Excel 365 as the CHOOSEROWS function is also not available in other versions. You can specify the rows with the top 5 values and names using a combination of the sort and sequence functions. Then, the CHOOSEROWS function will return these rows for us. Insert the formula in cell F5 equal to CHOOSEROWS. As the array argument, I'll use the sort function. As the array argument of the sort function, select cells in the B5 to C14 range. As the sort index, I'll write down 2. As the sort order, I'll select the descending order. As the row num1 argument of the CHOOSEROWS function, I'll use another function which is the sequence function. As the rows argument, write down 5. Close the parenthesis. This function sorts the range of cells from B5 to C14 based on the second column, which is column C, in descending order. Here, -1 means descending order. So it arranges the data in C14 to B5 based on values in column C from largest to smallest. This generates a sequence of numbers from 1 to 5. It creates an array like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The CHOOSEROWS function takes 2 arguments. The first argument is the sorted range of cells and the second argument is the sequence of numbers. CHOOSEROWS then returns the rows from the first argument, which is the sort range that correspond to the positions specified in the second argument. In this case, it returns the first 5 rows from the sorted range. Now press the enter key. The top 5 values and names will appear in the range F5 to G9. This is another great option and almost similar to the previous one. I'll use the index, sort and sequence functions together here. Select cell F5 and type equal to index. As the array argument of the index function, I'll use the sort function. As the array argument, select cells in the B5 to C14 range, comma, 2, descending order, close the parenthesis, comma. As the row num argument, I'll use the sequence function. As the rows argument, write down 5, comma. As the column num argument, I'll write down 1 and 2. Close the parenthesis. Press enter and you're done. You'll get the top 5 CGPA along with the names right away. The concept is too simple here. The sort function shows all the CGPAs in descending order, but the sequence function tells it to choose only the first 5. Then the index function shows the final results with the name and CGPAs in an array. If you don't want to use an array formula, then you can handle duplicates or ties by creating unique identifiers using the COUNTIF function. Except for the first value in duplicates, I'll multiply the remaining duplicates with a very small number and then add or subtract the result from the previous value. As a result, each duplicate value will change an insignificant amount but become unique as well. Here, I require an additional column for this method. I've created it under column D and named it Unique Identifier. In cell D5, insert the formula equal to C5 plus COUNTIF. As the range argument, select cells in the C5 to C14 range and make the C14 absolute reference, comma, again select cell C5, close the parenthesis, -1, again close the parenthesis, into 0.000001. Then press the enter key and drag down the fill handle icon. It may seem that there hasn't been any change, but if you use the increase decimal button on the duplicates, you will notice that they are different now. Now type in the formula in cell G5 equal to index. As the array argument, select cells in the B5 to B14 range, comma, as the row num argument, I'll use the match function. As the lookup value argument of the match function, I'll use another function which is the large function. As the array argument, select cells in the D5 to D14 range. Make D5 absolute referencing and the row number of the D14 reference absolute. Comma, as the k argument, I'll use the rows function. As the array argument of the rows function, I'll write D5 to D5. Close the parenthesis, comma, as the lookup array argument of the match function, select cells D5 to D14 and make the reference absolute. Comma, as the match type, I'll select exact match. Close the parenthesis. The rows function creates a dynamic reference that changes as you drag the formula down, helping to find the first, second, third, etc. largest numbers. This returns the nth largest number in the range D5 to D14. Now I use the result from the previous step to find the position of the nth largest number in the range D5 to D14. 0 indicates an exact match. Finally, I use the index function to return the corresponding value from the range B5 to B14 on the position found in the match function. Now press enter and use the fill handle tool. This will find us the top 5 names. Finally, for the top 5 values, insert the formula in cell H5 equal to index. As the array argument, select cells in the C5 to C14 range. Again, I'll use the match function. Again, the large function. As the array argument, select cells D5 to D14. Rows D5 to D5. Close the parenthesis, comma, D5 to D14, comma, and 0 for exact match. Close the parenthesis. This formula is similar to the previous one, so I think there is no need to explain it separately. Press enter and use the fill handle icon. Here, column B represents the name of 5 students and column C to column J shows the CGPA of each semester of those students. In the table below, I will find out the output data. Here, I want to find out the highest 5 CGPA for each student from these 8 semesters. So, select cell C13 and type equal to large. As the array argument, select cells C6 to J6, comma, as the k argument, I'll use another function which is the columns function. As the array argument of the column function, I'll write down C to C and close the parenthesis. Press enter and use fill handle to fill the next 4 cells along the row for Andrew. If you notice, you have got the value 4.0 twice as the output since Andrew's CGPA was 4 in 2 terms, 4.1 and in 4.2. So, the large function doesn't omit duplicate values while searching for the largest ones from the range of data or cells. Now, to get similar results for the other 4 students, you have to select the range of cells C13 to G13. Then, at the right bottom corner of the selected cells, you will find the fill handle icon. Now, use that icon to drag down to the selected row for Harry. And you are done. You will get all the top 5 CGPA for all students at once. If duplicates or ties are not present in your dataset, then you can find the top 5 names and values using 2 steps. Here, I have a similar dataset as the previous section. However, no duplicates or ties are present in the dataset. First, I will find out the top 5 CGPA only by combining large and rows functions. The large function will find out the largest value from a range of cells based on the serial number defined by the rows function. I'll get the names as well in the next section. Select the cell E5 and type equal to large. As the array argument, select cells in the C5 to C14 range. Comma, as the k argument, I'll use the rows function. As the array argument of the rows function, I'll select cell E5 to E5. Close the parenthesis and press enter. You will get the first highest CGPA among all from column C. Now use the fill handle icon to fill down 4 more cells to get the next largest 4 CGPAs. I'll apply 2 methods to find the top 5 names by matching the top 5 values calculated in the previous step. In the first method, I'll find out the names who got the top 5 CGPAs. I have to incorporate index, match, large and rows functions together. Here, in column F, the top 5 values from column C are already determined by following the previous method. Then I have to move to column E to extract the related names based on their CGPA. In cell E5, I'll just paste the formula as I discussed this type of formula before. You will get all the formulas method-wise in the article linked in the description box. After pressing enter, you will get the first name Jonas who got the highest CGPA 4. Now use fill handle to get the next 4 names in that column and you are done. If you want to avoid the index match formula, then you can replace it with the XLOOKUP function, searches for a range of cells or arrays and then returns values based on the selected conditions from the selected column or row. In cell E5, our related formula with XLOOKUP to find the names with is like. Now press enter and use the fill handle tool to get the other 4 names. In the first argument of the XLOOKUP function, the largest value has been inputted. The second argument is the range of cells C5 to C14, where the selected largest value will be looked for. And the third argument is another range of cells B5 to B14, from where the particular data or name will be extracted based on the row number found by the first 2 arguments. We can impose one or multiple criteria while finding the top 5 values and names in Excel. We can find the top 5 names and values with formulas or with a pivot table in such cases. If you have only a single criterion, then you can apply 2 methods to find the top 5 values and names in Excel. Let's think of another dataset now. If you notice, I have now names and CGPAs in columns B and D. Column C represents the departments of the students. I'll find out the top 5 CGPA from the computer science department and the output results will be achieved in column H. To find the top 5 CGPAs, the related formula in cell H7 will be press enter and use the fill handle to get the other 4 largest values and you are done. Here, with the if function, we are finding out all the CGPAs of the students from the computer science department only. Then the large function extracts the top 5 CGPA like before. Now I'll determine the names who got those top 5 CGPAs and I'll use the index match functions here. In the output cell G7, I'll paste my formula. Press enter and use the fill handle to fill down the rest of the 4 cells. You will get all the names at once. If you are using Excel 365, then you can use a combination of index, sort, filter and sequence functions to extract the top 5 values and names based on a single criteria with only one formula. Now insert the following formula in cell G7. Press the enter key to get the list of the top 5 values and names. See how quick is this? In this section, I'll impose another condition while finding the top 5 values and names. This criteria can be AND or OR type. Here, I'll consider the criteria as OR type. So, I want the top 5 names and values with the computer science department criteria or CGPA more than 3.9 criteria. Now, insert the formula in cell H8. This will calculate the top 5 values. Press enter and drag down the fill handle icon. Then paste the formula in cell G8 to find the top 5 names. Press the Enter key and double-click the fill handle icon to fill up the rest. With Excel, the plus symbol is used for OR logic and the asterisk symbol is used for AND logic. Therefore, if you want multiple AND type criteria, then use the asterisk symbol instead of the plus symbol. For the top 5 values with AND criteria, in cell H8, I'll change the plus symbol to asterisk symbol and press Enter. Use the fill handle tool. For the top 5 names with AND criteria, I'll again change the plus symbol to asterisk symbol. These two cells are showing error because there is no fifth person who gets CGPA more than 3.9 in the computer science department. If you don't want to apply any formula to filter the top 5 values and names based on criteria, then you can insert a pivot table. Select any cell inside the range, go to the Insert tab. In the Tables group of commands, click on Pivot Table drop-down. Then select From Table or Range option. It will open the Pivot Table from Table or Range dialog box. Here you can see that the entire data range is selected automatically. Now you have to choose the position of your pivot table. I am selecting the existing worksheet. And as the position I am selecting cell F4. Click OK. A pivot table will appear in the selection. The pivot table field's right side pane will also appear. Now drag the name field to the rows area and CGPA field to the values area. You will get a pivot table with names as row labels and sum of CGPA. There will be a drop-down icon for row labels. Click the row labels drop-down. Hover the mouse pointer over the value filters option in the drop-down menu. You will find the top 10 option. After selecting the top 10 option, you will get the top 10 filter dialog box. To get the top 5, reduce the number from 10 to 5 and click OK. Here you will get only the top 5 names and values in the pivot table. Select any cell inside the table and you will find the Pivot Table Analyze contextual tab. Go to this tab and you will find the Insert Slicer command. After clicking on it, the Insert Slicer dialog box will appear. Here, check the box of Department option and click OK. The Department Slicer will appear in your worksheet. Now, select any department from the slicer and you will see corresponding top 5 names and values in the pivot table. Although you will get the top 5 values and names, the list will not be sorted based on the values, but the alphabetical order of the names. If you want to highlight the top 5 values and names without extracting them, then you can use the conditional formatting feature. First, select the range B5 to C21, go to the Home tab, click on the Conditional Formatting drop-down in the Styles group of commands. Here, select the New Rule option. It will open the New Formatting Rule dialog box. Select Use a formula to determine which cells to format as the rule type and write the formula in the Edit the Rule description section. Equal to C5 greater than or equal to, here I'll use the large function C5 to C21, comma, as I want to highlight the top 5 results, so I'll write down 5 and close the parenthesis. Now click on the Format button. It will open the Format Cells dialog box. Go to the Fill tab and select your preferred color. Here I'm selecting this light shade. You can see the sample from this panel. Click OK. Again click OK to close the dialog box. This will highlight the rows with the top 5 values and names simply. If you feel the array formulas are too complex, then you can apply a simple VBA code to extract the top 5 values and names from a dataset. Here I have already created an output range for the top 5 students. In column F and column G, I want to get the names and their CGPAs respectively. To use VBA, you have to enable the Developer tab in the ribbon. Right-click on any tab on the ribbon and select Customize the ribbon option. It will open the Excel options window. Here, select the Developer option and click OK. Hence, the Developer tab is now visible. Go to this tab. We have to click on Visual Basic option on the Code group of commands. Alternatively, press Alt plus F11 key to replicate the task. The Microsoft Visual Basic for Applications window appears. Move to the Insert tab and select Module. You can see a code module is inserted. The advantage of inserting the code into the module is that you can run this macro in each sheet of this workbook. Now I'll paste my VBA code into the module. You will find the code from the article link in the description box. This section declares variables that will be used throughout the code. Variables like WS represents a worksheet, and variables with names like data name column represent the column number where specific data is located. It sets the worksheet to the active worksheet in the current workbook and defines the columns and starting row for input and output data. Here, the names are in column 2, values are in column 3, and the data starts from row 5. And the output data starts from row 5 also. The output name will be in column 6, which is column F, and the output values will be in column 7, which is column G. This line determines the last row with data in the name column on the active worksheet WS. It starts from the bottom of the column and goes upwards until it encounters the first non-empty cell. The result is stored in the variable last row. Here its value is 22. These lines creates arrays which are top 5 names and top 5 values to store the top 5 names and corresponding values. The values in top 5 values array are taken as -1 initially. This loop iterates through the row of data starting from the row 5 up to the last row with data which is row 22 in this case. It extracts the value from the name and values columns and stores them in temporary values and temporary name variables. This nested loop compares the temporary value with the top 5 values stored in the top 5 values array. If it finds a value larger than the current top 5, it shifts the existing values down to make room for the new one and then inserts the new value and name at the correct position in the top 5 list. Finally, this loop outputs the top 5 names and values to the specified columns and rows on the worksheet WS. The output starts from the designated output starting row, which is row 5, and columns 6 and 7, that means column F and column G. In summary, this VBA code is designed to find the top 5 values and corresponding names from a dataset and output them in a specified location of the same dataset. Now, click on the green colored Run Sub or User Form button and return to the worksheet. You will find the top 5 values and names in the range F5 to G9. In this tutorial, I have shown multiple methods to find the top 5 values and names in Excel. Follow them carefully to apply this knowledge in your practical field. Use the one that comes in handy for you. Download the workbook from the description box so you can practice it yourself. If you have any questions, suggestions or feedback, please let us know in the comments section. You can have a glance at exceldemy.com or join our thriving Exceldemy community forum where you can post your Excel and VBA challenges and get solutions from experts and fellow users. If you like this video, consider subscribing and click the bell icon. Thanks for watching.